Chaos. Woo woo. I love our jingle. Welcome to Hello Chaos, a weekly podcast exploring the messy and chaotic minds and lives of founders, entrepreneurs, and innovators. Every week, we talk to founders from different industries at different company stages, levels, sizes. They're the gambit. We run the gambit of those founder stories, and we hear all the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's why our mantra is where aha meets oh shit. We drop new episodes every Sunday. Founders tune in to us for tips, insights, and strategies on growing their own business or really ways to be better owners and leaders. Hello Chaos is one of the many resources brought to you by Orange Whip. That's Orange Whip, WIP for Work in Progress. Orange Whip is a multimedia company dedicated to serving founders and entrepreneurs in affiliate cities. We've designed hyperlocal media platforms that inform, inspire, and create connections to help founders succeed. Our hyperlocal media platforms are an all-in-one content hub with fresh and engaging stories, curated local calendars, and local dynamic roadmaps to help founders navigate their local entrepreneurial ecosystem. We've done all the hard work for founders, so they only need to go to one trusted place to find the local information they need. We're in 3 markets today in South Carolina, moving to expand into other cities. Every city needs an Orange Whip to help be the connective tissue of that entrepreneurial ecosystem. My name is Jennifer Sutton. My friends and family call me JJ. I'm the founder of Orange Whip and will be your host today. And I'm excited to have Guillermo Avila with 365 Digital Technologies. And Guillermo, if I butchered your last name, please correct me. But
You
Guillermo, welcome. Did I? Okay, but you say it. You say it with the lovely accents that you. Avila. Guillermo Avila.
There you go. Good job.
Thank you. I should be better. My sister-in-law is Chilean. If she heard this, she'd be like, Jennifer, you know better. But welcome to Hello Chaos and to the Chaos. We're excited that you're joining us today. So just start us out. We'll just hit us with your entrepreneurial journey. How did you become a founder of your own business?
So, I was just thinking about it this week because I was making some updates to some literature we had, and there's the story that I remember, and then there's the way it actually started. And that is, I had someone who had enough faith in me to offer me, he's an attorney friend of mine who, for my birthday, offered me a free LLC. That was his gift certificate. He said, and I got it hanging on my wall. And he says on the gift certificate, I have faith in you. And that's how it started. And so my birthday was in March, and in May of that same year, just a couple months after, I took the plunge and said, there's all of these things that I've always wanted to fix in consulting. And I was doing it for everyone else, and I wanted to do it on my own. And so because of that certificate he gave me and some faith that I borrowed from him, I went ahead and started the journey.
And so it's been 365 Digital Technologies from the start, or did you have to pivot, do other things, or?
No, it has been 365 Digital Technologies the entire time.
Fantastic. And you said that you saw kind of the gap in the marketplace. What was the gap that you saw that you're like, I see a fit for me, I can do things better? What was the problem you were solving?
When I looked into consulting channels, and I work for a lot of large consulting companies, part of what I was having a problem with was the ethics part of it. And so there were a lot of times when there wasn't enough work to do for a client, and your manager or their manager 2 levels up is saying, figure out work to do and get it billed. And so now you're coming up with work that's not value added to the client. They don't need it done. You're just making up things in order to bill.
Right.
And you're not providing a valued service. And in a sense, it's unethical what you're doing, because it's not even work that the client really needs done.
Right. It's not moving their business forward, right?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I started to look at that model saying, I think if I came out of that and I took a different approach, I think we could actually make it value added for the client in the end. And that's what we decided to do.
Mm. What's been the most rewarding aspect of your journey in starting your business?
I totally, for me, it's when we take a client um, who has their projects are upside down,
Mm.
and we walk in, and within a few months we're able to get them back on track. That's like the high of the business.
That's right. Yeah. I tell people that all the time of like, with the on the Bright Marketing is our, as our sister company. And when people ask me the same thing, I'm like, oh, no, we're solving a problem where we put calm. I was like, we put calm to the chaos.
That's right.
Um, because, we work in the complexities and how do we simplify that? Uh, so I love that. What do you think now that so how long have you been running your business? It's
So this May was 5 years for us.
Oh, big milestone. Guillermo,
Huge.
did you do a celebration?
You
I
know,
think as founders, we forget to celebrate these little
we do.
wins.
We forget to celebrate, and it's funny because my wife, who's a huge part of our business, came into my office, and she's like, 5 years. She goes, "Did you know that most businesses fail like in the first couple of years?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
She's like, "I
Yeah.
didn't know that," and I'm like, "I thought you knew that." She's like, "I probably would have like been kind of worried had I known that, right?" Because
Yeah.
it is tough. It is a tough couple of years. And a lot of people talk about starting their own business, but until you actually get in there and do it,
Right.
you start to realize that sink or swim. It's a
That's
whole
right.
different ballgame.
And I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to see if you've got a good opinion on this. But it's not just about starting your business for like getting you a gig, right? Just filling, replacing a paid salary with something, but to actually start a business where you're taking risk not on yourself, but you're bringing other people on board. So you're taking risk on other people and then developing the team and the culture and really building a brand and a company. It's a completely different mindset. And
It is way, and the burden is heavy. You
yeah,
know, when you're working for a company, your whole mindset is, even if things slow down, they're always going to keep me, right? That's kind of your mindset, and that's not
right,
always the case. And then when you become a business owner, you realize, I've got 8, 9 people who are they're relying on me to help pay their mortgage, to put their
right.
kids through school. But when you start to realize the amount of faith that those employees have in you too, that to succeed, you start to realize that it's not so much of a burden, but it's a way that we get to complement our team by being able to
Mm,
provide a living that they do a great job in, and
yeah.
it's something that we get to add back to our client.
Yeah. So, what do you think is the biggest misconception people have or a myth about being a founder or a business owner? And how would you debunk it?
The biggest one, and Jennifer, I'm sure you've heard this one. You're a business owner, and people who have never had a business are like, you can take all the time off that you want. You want to go on vacation for 4 weeks? Go on vacation. And it's like, listen, if I'm not working, we're not billing. Like,
Right.
you,
That's
someone has to pay for a lot of these things that we have as a company. And
right.
while the plan is that I don't have to consult as much, the
You're
reality
still
is
in it. You're still
I'm
in it.
still in it. I'm in the weeds. And I think that's one of the things I hear a lot is, oh, you can make your own schedule, you make your own time, and you can take as much time off as you want. And I'm always like, my customer sets my time. So if I've
Right.
got a customer in California, guess what? I'm working, till 8, 9 o'clock that night. Right now, I've got a customer in Germany. We
Hmm.
got to wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning to get them taken care of. So it's a really big misconception in terms of being able to have such a lax schedule when you're a business owner.
Yeah, I was just like, the reason I was pointing over at Chandler, our producer, because we were just talking about this. What was it, yesterday or the day before? Because I'm going to see my niece in San Francisco on Friday. She's graduating from high school, and I'm representing my family, to help to go see my brother. But I'm working remotely. But and I'm trying to coordinate. Going, I've got to reschedule this or reschedule that. And Chandler's like, I bet this is a big this is a conversation you have on the podcast with other founders of, it is that big myth of you can just take off. And it's like, no, you've got to, you still have to align your, like, I could work remotely, but I'm still working. Like, I still got to
Right.
take the meetings. I've got to work around my schedule. And if I have that travel time of that 4 or 5 hours where I'm off, that's got to be made up somewhere. Right. I mean, like,
Right.
it's not like I mean, yes, it's important to like take that time to kind of dial out, but yeah, I mean, when your workload is full and I think you and I are probably in the same boat of where we're running a business, but we also wear I call it functional lead hats, where we're still doing part of the work, not as much. There are other team members, but we're still performing some work. That somebody's like, I don't want to be a bottleneck to somebody else. I don't want to hold anybody else up. I need to make sure our clients are getting what they need. And, if I'm out for 4 or 5 hours, that time's it's going to come at night or on the weekend.
Oh, absolutely. And the funny thing is, and I'm sure you run into this too, Jennifer, is you let client A, B, and C know you're going on vacation, and their response generally is, "Oh, that's great, you need it, but you're accessible, right?"
Right.
So,
I can
so
still
I
call
can get a
you,
hold
right?
of you if I need you, right? Like that's usually how it's followed by, and that's why I think people don't understand that while I do everything I can to protect my people's PTO, that's just being a business owner. Is we
That's
have
right.
to be accessible to keep moving the company forward.
That's right. And I get it more of like, I'm still accessible to the team too, because a lot of my, I think focus too is not helping to make sure that the clients are getting the work, but I'm trying to work them behind the scenes, and coaching, um, providing kind of direction, good feedback to go, how do we keep the projects moving, but also how are we keeping our people moving forward, which is has to me, that's one of the most rewarding parts. But to see young people or and blossom, um, and start to learn and love the same I guess industry. Yeah, yeah.
That's all, and something else that we run into when it comes to this misperception, and it's just I think it's part of the attitude that you have to be as an entrepreneur and running a small business is we and I'm sure Jennifer, this doesn't happen with you at all, is we kind of have control issues. So, the idea that I gotta have my hand in everything, and we have these control issues because there's so much at stake when it runs to our business.
Yeah.
When it comes to it, we just want to make sure everything is going to be fine when we leave, and we do have control issues because without that control, we feel like it's going to slip away. And so
Mm.
I think our first tendency is to always want to have control, even though we've got great people in place
Yeah.
that can go ahead and run that.
Well, it's interesting you say that. So that's, and I'm going to ask you one of your aha moments. But over my journey, it was about, I just hit my 10-year for Bright. And one of my breakthrough moments was I did delegate and empower people on the team and like I said, here's our service, here's our, macro level of prospect, here's the expectation of delivery. But I did not uh, micro down those SOPs and those processes and play oversight enough where I let people have too much control. Or I would say I let go too much and trusted too much, and I got burned,
Mm,
burn. But it also taught me, I was like, okay, for me to be able to scale and grow, I got to put the full processes in place down from macro to micro, but I have to put guardrails up that protect the company and protect the clients from people that just literally it wasn't anything nefarious. It was just um, lack of professionalism and a little bit of like uh, capacity of knowledge.
sure.
Um, and but we didn't put enough, I think, those guardrails in place to protect everybody. And it hurt the company. And, but you rebuild, you pivot, you learn, and you move on. Like, this is like, I've been in the dip now where, you're coming out of it. But, now I have more control issues. Now I'm like, whoa, okay, let's think about this. I don't want to go back into the mistakes that we made,
Right.
So now I am having a bit of a control issue, but it's more of like, let's think through let's do the thinking up front. So when we release, it's good. But we put a little bit more, I call them guardrails, but they're control protections.
Yeah.
In the early stages of any process or any kind of kickoff, but yeah, it's helped, and things are working. We're able to identify friction way earlier and then course correct, whether it's educating people or creating a process that fills that gap, which has been amazing in my opinion. But yeah, that was one of my ahas. What's one of your biggest like breakthrough moments that really made a significant impact on your business?
So it's actually the opposite of yours. So for me, it's not giving up enough trust to the people that I've got on my team. And I just feel like I've got to be in the weeds with everything. And I've got some incredible talent on my team. And I just needed to start letting them run some things because they've got the experience, they've got the talent. I think one of the things that I learned through this process was you'll never be able to hire another version of you at 100%, but
Nope.
you can hire people that are 70 to 80% of the way there.
That's right.
And
that's right.
That's what I learned. And so I can fill in the gap of that 20%, but I needed to be able to trust my folks to run at the 70, 80% that they could be trusted with. And that took time, but when I've done it, they've done fantastic. But there are, like what you said, there are those guardrails. There are conversations that I don't want them to have without me. I do all the quotes for the company. That's something that I won't release to somebody else, right? I still have guardrails of what I think I need to manage in the company.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I let my people do what they do best. But I also have that protected where I'm still involved and I know exactly what's going on within their projects.
That's right. And as we grow the businesses and stuff, there's software and dashboards and other things, and like the checks that allow you to kind of step away more and more and more. So, I'm excited for your growth and your growth journey. So how did you deal, or how do you deal with stress and big challenges? Okay, you're like, oh my God, did you lose people because you weren't trusting them? I mean, like, what was that aha moment? Like, how did you know I've got to do something different? Was it just overload stress on yourself, or did you have turnover of your people and that was like, crap, I'm losing good people?
So the defining moment, which was kind of cool, I didn't have any turnover, and it was one of my junior consultants and one of my seniors ended up coming in for me. But my wife and I had planned a trip to France and Italy for a year. And we had to move our go live date of a project that landed on the week that we were in Europe, right?
Oh.
And so I'm like, okay, I can't spend 3 days in Europe. My wife would kill me. So I leaned in on my number 2 and on one of the junior guys to stand in for me while we went live. I would dial in every once in a while just to hear how the calls were, and I realized everything was fine. My number 2, who stands in for me quite a bit, and great senior consultant, he had control of everything, and I didn't need to worry about it. And there was everything went over fantastic. There were no issues, and it was a flawless delivery. And we went live, and I didn't need to insert myself to make that happen. So the team just kind of prodded me a little bit to say, you see,
we got it.
Yeah.
We got your back, dude. We're okay.
Yeah, we got it. And they would remind me, listen, we're okay. Like just let us run with it, and go enjoy your vacation. And we did. We had a
Oh,
great time, and my team was able to take over for all of the stuff that we had for this project.
that's fantastic. Now it's just like it's baby steps. We got to crawl, then we got to walk
Oh
before
yeah.
we can run, right? So okay, on the flip side, what was your biggest like, oh shit moment? What have I done? Have you had one
So
of those yet?
oh yes, and I think part of that is, um, I think when you're starting a business and you're starting to get more business, part of what you realize is, okay, I need more bodies. I can't do this by
Mm-hmm.
myself. And so you have to kind of shift your thinking. And what I learned was, um, you need to hire to culture before you hire to talent.
Yep.
That was a big one.
Yep.
And I can teach you all the things you may not know about project consulting, but I really can't teach you how to get along with people.
That's right.
And so part of what I learned with the hard way is, there are some great senior project managers that we could bring in on the team who had, the
They sandpaper.
personality. Oh, yes,
I call them.
absolutely.
They're sandpaper.
They were
Just
sandpaper. And you would simply say, listen, this isn't working out. Like you're technically, you are proficient at what you do,
right.
but you can't talk to people the way that you do when you're in a room. Our
That's
job is
right.
to really listen. And so we ended up shifting gears where early on, uh, I was looking at bodies to fill for projects. And now what we've done is it slows our hiring process. But I want to make sure you're going to fit in with the culture that we're trying to build here. And
Yeah.
even if you're not at 100% of what I need, I can train that into you. But I need to make sure that you're going to get along with my clients. You're going to get along with the team. You're going to get along with me. That we're going to be cohesive as a team, and
Right.
it's not going to be divisive. And I don't want anyone on my team to stress each other out. So that's where we had to shift because,
Yeah.
man, early
So
on, you're just finding bodies.
that's right. And so important. I mean, I cannot stress this enough. And I talk to founders about this all the time and I've experienced it. I mean, that was some of my lowest of the low of we were hiring based on resumes and skills and it's like we thought they would work out because yeah, they were kind on the surface, but when you really put people under I call it the heat lamp or client pressure, it's amazing to see how people react when pressure is on, and that really brings out you know, the true personality of are they going to fit? Are there, we say we don't need ego. I mean, so we had a big turnover right after COVID and kept having because we were hiring too fast. We were just trying to fill bodies and not thinking and not like going, these people are damaging our culture.
Yeah,
um, and, we said, look, if they're toxic and sandpaper and our team feels it, guarantee it's going to bleed out to our client in some way. So yeah, and I've talked to founders like we're really in the people business, especially kind of businesses like where we're service-based businesses. We're in the people business to help kind of uncover and listen to clients and their needs, and a part of that is the psychology of like managing expectations. But then the team side of, you're like you said, you're trying to hire people to go, look, I can teach on skill set. I cannot teach people to be a natural listener and a natural giver, um, and be a team player and a collaborator. Of
absolutely. And the
we
one thing I think on top of that too, Jennifer, and for other founders out there, this is really important for you is I think the lessons learned for me is understanding that you need to look at your employees and understand those guys are walking billboards of your brand.
That's right. They've got to represent. I was just going to say that too. Like when you were talking about, are they going to get along with our team? Are they going to fit with our clients? Or that was like they're representing you. They're representing your company, and it's got to be the right fit both sides. And yeah, we slowed down our, just like you, we slowed down our hiring. We hire so slow. We put in all these just more steps to get to uncover, have conversations with people to really get to know them, for them to get to know us. Because what I also don't want to have, and I'm sure you don't either, people come onto your team and then they get a surprise of like 30 days in of, this is what this job is. And it's like, did I not describe it? You saw
Right,
the
right.
job description. And, but yeah, I think what we've learned is we've got to be more storytelling, and give people examples of what should they expect. Is that right? It shows like, I'm going to look to Chan because he's been through the onboarding of, he's like, no, I'm glad that you said some things. Now I see why you're saying things, of why you said it during the interview process. Of it's all kind of, it's coming 360 for him. But that's, that's part of our job of hiring the right people, building a culture, building a team. And it's, running a business is not just about being great at your craft.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole people component in there. I mean, especially for our business, it's a heated, stressful environment, and about probably 90% of our business are all what we call rescue projects. And
Yeah.
so by the time we get involved, some of our clients could have already lost millions. And so we're coming into a very stressful.
You're in fix it
We
mode.
are. We are. And one of the first things that we train up, any newer consultants who aren't seasoned, we say, when you have a CFO or a CEO who is in a heated discussion with you, remember, don't take it personal. They're not mad at you.
Right.
They're mad at the situation that got them there.
Right.
And now we're at the point we've had to come in to fix this, and they're out a countless amount of money, and so
Right.
it's heated, and so we need to have a certain temperament for our folks coming in, and that temperament is calm, cool, collective.
Right. And you're kind of like, I'm assuming you're kind of taking the client's hand and kind of like, hey, we're walking with you. Because I'm also sure the CEO or the CFO, yeah, they're mad because they're out, money. It's hard dollars,
Right.
and it's also technical, which gives people anxiety anyway because it's not. It's difficult to kind of look under the hood to know what you're looking at, how to connect how to do a diagnose, the diagnostics, and they're probably mad at themselves too a little bit. They don't want to admit it, but probably a lot of that anger is they're taking it out on you guys because it's truly they're mad at themselves for getting them the company in the situation they did, whether it was a bad hire internally or they or they outsourced it to the wrong people.
That's exactly right. And in some cases, Jennifer, one of the things that they have to start looking inward, which is tough for them,
Yeah.
is when we end up doing our audits and we uncover you guys had the opportunity to do some things differently, but you chose to do it on the cheap side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that cheapness of what could have saved you millions of dollars by bringing in a separate consultant at, maybe it's 150,000 for the cost of that person. Now it's cost you millions by not bringing that person on because you wanted to save a few bucks.
Right.
That's a lot of what we find.
Yeah. Those are. So how have you handled some of those uncomfortable? Do you have any like magic tips of the secret sauce of like how do you calm somebody as you're giving them that kind of news?
It's funny because when I've had to sit in front of the C-level suite, I don't linger on the bad news. Instead, I go straight to this is the action plan. And so generally when we bring the news, and I tell we've got some interns that work for us. And one of the things we tell them is you don't ever deliver bad news without having an action plan.
Oh, yeah.
You go in there and you deliver bad news. They say, okay, so how do we get out of this? I don't know.
That's the worst. We tell that with just our employees of like, don't come to me with, hey, I found this problem where I'm in a wall. You better be backing that up with, and here's what I suggest that we do. I mean, I think that's just good teaching anything. for anybody in any role and seat in a company. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, what do you think I'd be the most surprised, or our listeners, what do you think we'd be most surprised to find out about you that's not on LinkedIn? It's not on like your bio or anything, but something that people would be surprised to learn about you.
I don't know that I have anything people would be. The one thing that usually takes the air out of the room is when we introduce ourselves to my wife and I will, meet maybe a new couple and we're going out and they're like, hey, we got 2 kids, and we're like, we have 6, 5 girls and 1 boy. And they're like, oh, like,
Yeah.
for them, it's like, how do you survive? And we're like, well, my hair before all the kids was jet black. And this is the remnants of that now, and I think it's just, I think folks have a hard time trying to figure out how in the world you manage 6 kids under one roof, but
Yeah.
we get around. That's how we got into project management, was because of what the effort was to raise 6 kids.
That's right. You're just dealing with logistics on a daily basis.
That's it.
I've got 4 kids. Now my kids are a little spread. I've got 2 and 2. So I took a long hiatus while thinking we're done after the first 2. And then it was like, oh crap, I got pregnant again. And then we're like, this third one, he's kind of hanging out here by himself. He needs to have a friend. So that's kind of how our 4 came about. But what are the age span of your kids?
So you would ask me that. So it's 27 all the way down to 19, I think, with 2 years in between.
Oh my gosh. So you like boom, boom. Any twins?
No. But which is what's so crazy though, is my daughter has twins. So, I don't know where those came from, but yeah, she's got twins. But we had them spaced out 2 years in between, and
you just were like, knock that out. Yeah, we did. Mine are 23 to 13. That's my span. But yes, when you have to do carpool at the time, or like picking up from school, and we were at like 4 different drop-offs at one time. I mean, like massive project management, or I call it calendaring. I put all 6 of us on one calendar when they were all under the roof, doctor's appointments, whatever, the school calendars, and then working, all the client stuff. You just become a master of organization and structure.
Oh yeah. And then when you start throwing in everything with the sports programs, forget about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like all that was like on one calendar, just trying to manage all that. 6 kids. Congratulations. It looks like they're almost all out of the house though, right?
Almost. We're close. We
off
got
the
2
payroll, as we call it.
So.
Get them off the payroll.
That's right.
Okay, if you could pick 2 things to change about your business today, what would you choose to change and why?
Well, the first one I know we have to change, and it's something that we're making good progress on. Is the first thing is I can't be the sole person to go out and find new business. And so one of the things that we're looking on is onboarding a business development person. We're very close to being able to get 8A certified so we can start bidding on federal contracts. And so
nice.
We need someone to be able to help us facilitate a lot of those meetings with the federal agencies and drive a lot of
that's a lot of work. So for listeners that don't understand describe what 8A certification is, because it's complex and it's difficult to get to, but you have to be really strategic when you get, because it's only a limited time, right? It's like, is it 3 years, 7 years? What is it that you get? And so you've got to take advantage of that time frame. But the floodgates can open. But
that's right.
But explain what 8A is for listeners.
You bet. So the 8A program is basically a program that the federal government uses that allows agencies to set aside a certain amount of money that generally would go to very large construction companies, very large consulting companies, and they said, we're going to set money aside for small minority-owned businesses who can't penetrate this kind of market. So you've got maybe some small builders out there who can't compete against, a floor, right?
Right.
And so now what the government says is we're going to give, maybe 10%, 15%, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you're talking billions of dollars, suddenly that's generation of revenue there. So we've been at this thing. It's very complicated. I
Yeah.
want to say that it's almost been a year process for us, where from the time you finish your application, it keeps going back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Add this, add this, add this. Can you edit this line? I mean, we're at the tail end of that process now. But what we're hoping to do is get into some agencies where we can start getting some of their larger programs on track. I think I wrote a LinkedIn article about this a week or so ago, where we talked about, one of the big debacles in project management on the tech side was when the healthcare site was spun up and didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at all these different agencies couldn't collaborate with each other. And so, we want to be able to bring a lot more success on those type of programs. So we're trying to get in, and we're at the tail end of that now. And so I'm really hopeful. And that's one of the first things we knew. We knew we were going to have to bring someone in to focus on developing those relationships. So I could continue to try to bring in more talent, grow the commercial side, but we needed someone that would focus on the government side.
That's fantastic. What's the other thing you would choose to change?
I've got to get out of consulting 100%.
Yeah.
I got to limit myself to maybe 20% with maybe more high profile, maybe more emergency type cases, but I need to stop consulting at 100% and become a CEO.
Yeah.
And I need to start leading from the front instead of being in the weeds and consulting with everyone else. And I've got a 5-year plan to do that. And so I'm at the beginning part of that, but it's tough because I enjoy getting in there, and it's, I had to make a decision of, do I consult and not be a CEO, or do I become a CEO and consult less? And that's the path I'm trying to go down.
So what was when you asked yourself that question, which is, by the way, every founder, or if you think you want to start a business and you're kind of working in your craft, solopreneur, that is a question you need to ask yourself early on of what's my vision for this business? Is this a lifestyle, or is this something I'm trying to grow and scale to either exit, give to, a legacy, my kids, or, or do I grow it enough to sell it to my employees? But, to do that, you've got to ask am I in the weeds, or am I going to be a CEO? What went through your head of the criteria or the factors of, I think I want to be a CEO? What was that? I know, decision process for you?
I think for me, it's I want to grow this company, and we're already consulting on a national level, and I want to continue to grow and add a lot more consultants. But one of the realities that I have a coach with the chamber. I'm doing a program called MBA, which is Minority Business Accelerator, and one of the things that my coaches said that I had to take to heart was, it's okay, Guillermo, for you to want to be in the weeds, and you can do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Right. You can continue to consult, but your business will max out. You'll never be able to grow it past that, because there's only so many hours in the day. Now, if you're going to act like a CEO, what you're going to do is you're going to hire 10 versions of yourself, and you're going to maximize their time, maximize your revenues, because you're going to be directed towards getting new business, hiring people, growth, be strategic. I can't do all those things if I'm always in the weeds. And so that 5-year plan is every year trying to take that percentage off of me consulting and simply giving it to another person I need to bring on board, to another existing consultant.
Yeah, because as you start scaling that, you're going to be really not consulting direct to the clients. You're going to be coaching your people and nurturing them. So it's just a shift in the time and energy and where you're putting it. But I think that's fantastic. I know that you did the Minority Business Accelerator, and that program, has that been a valuable resource? What has been your like biggest lesson, your aha moments from that program?
Oh
Which
man, I didn't know what to expect really when I walked into the program, and
yeah,
I thought, maybe we'll get some foundational things, and maybe it's very generic. Uh, Honestly, Jennifer, I say this in all honesty that the MBA program that the chamber puts together is probably better than any of the classes I took for grad school.
mhm,
Absolutely incredible. They put you in with coaches who have your best interest at heart. They want you to succeed. They want you to do better. I would say the biggest thing that I would probably add as an aha moment that came out of the MBA class for with the chamber is understanding how to read my books the
yeah,
proper way. And that's one of the things I think all of us that are going through the program, like we wanted to make it very simplistic. And what our coaches would say is there are some key indicators of the growth of your business.
right,
And there are things that you need to give yourself some credit on. And though that was huge for us, it was a huge eye opener for all of us as business owners to say, you're probably undercharging and you need to charge more.
that's
You
right.
have a skill set. And I'll tell you, I mean, honestly, Jennifer, this has been like for the past month or so, a big one for me is my competitors bill at twice the rate that I do. And I
Mm.
lost a bid because I wasn't asking enough. Like
So they were like, "Oh, you're too low.
you're
Something
too
must be
low.
wrong."
Something
Yeah,
must be wrong. And so I remember going to class that Monday and I said, I lost a bid because my bid was too low. And the guy who won was one of the
and
largest
usually that's
firms.
crazy.
That's what you and I remember my coach saying, "You're thinking like a small guy. You have the expertise of all the large players out there. Now go
Yeah,
out and build like they do." And so we adjusted our pricing scale, and now we're going to start putting in bids with our new pricing scheme. And part of that is having enough faith that my group knows exactly what they need to do when we go into
mm,
these rescues. And it's usually for the firms that are charging twice the amount that we are, and we're
yeah,
coming in rescuing those guys. And so we need to come in with that level of confidence that our price target is fair, but it's with a level of confidence that we can fix the problem and don't underbid just to have the business because we're
no,
not
you
begging for business.
that's right. That's right. You provide a value. I think that's, those the MBA, and I was a graduate of that program in 2018, and I think that's what it gave me was just a level of confidence of um, the the lens and the introspection that the program forces you to have on your own business, but then teaching you some of the just the fundamental, the basics that nobody teaches you that in any kind of grad school because you're getting an MBA on your business. Like you're opening all the crevices and you're going, how do I, all these eyeballs on your business. But it tells us like, man, I'm doing a lot of stuff right, but here's 20 or 30% I really need to do better um, to be able to scale with I think more ease and more confidence and think bigger, um, which is which I any of those type of programs, but I think the MBA, the chamber, um, because of the way they've structured it with the coaches and I think you guys are in like little CEO peer groups too, the
That's right.
community, those networking and those relationships are invaluable, like crazy. I mean, I still tap into the community all the time.
It is huge. I mean, if any of the listeners have never looked at a program like that, I would highly encourage you to do it. It is well worth your time, and
Mhm.
it will teach you things about your business that if you're simply just if you're deciding to cowboy the whole thing on your own, you're going to have some eye-opening experiences when you realize there's some things in your business that you haven't ever looked at, and you need
Right.
to. It's going to be critical to your growth, and that's the one thing I think I've learned for myself is there were some things that we didn't look at because we didn't know to look at it.
Right,
Now that
right.
our coaches have coached us to do that, it's part of what we do every month now.
Yeah. Ugh, ugh. So good. Valuable, valuable advice. All right. So a couple last questions. What advice were you given? I mean, I know you've given some fantastic tips and tricks throughout this conversation, but is there anything that you received or heard from another founder or a coach that you were like, you immediately incorporated into your business? And whether it was like a business tip or it could have been more of a, leadership tip, coaching, but is there anything else you really took in?
Yeah, I think that the one that's happened here recently is um, don't feel afraid or ashamed to carry yourself like a CEO.
Mm,
I think when you walk into a room and you're a small business owner and you're rubbing elbows with CEOs of firms that are huge, the tendency is to go in there and go, I can't compete with these guys.
hmm,
And I think one of the things that my coaches have been like, nope, you're just on par with these guys. You may be a smaller company, but you have every bit of skill set. So when
that's right.
you walk in with the level of confidence of being a CEO.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing advice. I need to take that to heart. I need to, I need to do that. But you're right. I think a lot of times because we're smaller businesses trying to scale, we sometimes walk in the room and feel small. And it's just that um, we need to have the confidence of we're just small today. We're not going to be small tomorrow.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
when I think about the kind of rooms I'm walking into and I need to have that level of confidence is that um, I'm going in rescuing sizable projects that some of these consulting firms have caused the problems for.
Yeah.
And
They've
so,
already cost them millions.
right. So when I walk in, I'm a CEO I'll tell you the biggest compliment I've gotten so far, and I I'm not making this up. It's one of the biggest compliments that I've ever gotten. I got on a call with a software company, and I had rescued one of their clients' projects that use their product. And I'm on a call with them, and they were looking at using my team to help them with a different rescue, not knowing I've done these other rescues. And as we were talking, the guy who's really high up says, "Oh, wait a minute, you're that guy." And I realized I am that guy. I'm
Hmm.
the guy who helped save some of their clients and was able to get them to use their product in a great way. And so when I'm able to make a name like that for myself, I can walk in
Yeah.
head high on any of these conferences that I go to and not worry that I'm a small business owner. I'm a CEO, and I can
And you're that guy.
and I'm that guy. And when I think about that, I always have to remind myself, and my wife will remind me, you're that guy. You're that
Yeah,
guy. Don't forget, you're that guy. And they recognized you as that guy.
that's right. Oh, I hope you again, that's a little mini win. You need to celebrate that. Make
Absolutely.
t-shirts for your team. Like we're that guy. We're it.
That's right.
All right, last question. And it's my favorite one. If you had to sum up your entire founder journey in just one word, what would that word be and why?
It's the only word I can think of because I use it in sentences, but it's the one word I'll stick with is crazy.
Ah,
Crazy.
why crazy?
I think when I look at my background in terms of growing up in a in a very poor home, the background of just personally that I grew up with, on paper I should not be the CEO of a company that I started 5 years ago,
Mm,
and it's been a crazy journey. And it's been a journey of understanding that I have the capabilities and I have a team who backs me up and
ah,
a team that wants us to succeed. And so when I think of all those things, I think crazy because it seems like this should really happen to someone else. It shouldn't be happening to us. And it's
oh,
crazy in a great way.
that is. Well, congratulations to you. I
Thank
love
you.
that word. So I asked this word of, we've asked 100, and more, and we get a different answer, a different word. And I
I
just
bet.
love it. I love it. Um, okay, I'm going to give you a little. So, Guillermo, you had your 5 year. I hope that you get your team together if you haven't already. And you guys need to do a little celebration and tell the stories of that guy. You need to tell them that your word is crazy and why. Um, and you guys just need to like pop some champagne or something and do a little like, we're it. Let's go to the next. Let's go to the next 5 years. Let's go to, hit that next milestone.
I think it's a great plan. We have our team meeting next week, and I'll definitely do that.
You need to share both of those stories. I think your team will love it and get to know you better, but also just to have that, like, man, you're right. We are kicking some butt out here.
Absolutely, we are. Yes.
I work for that guy. Yeah, like one of that.
That's right.
All right. Well, I appreciated your time. I love this discussion. I hope we can continue it, as we're part of the same community. Always amazed at how fast this goes. Like, I'm like, this will be 30 minutes, and then we're almost an hour.
That's right. Well,
We're
I
in.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before we leave, though, where can people connect with you, get a hold of you? How do you want people to reach out?
Yeah, I think the easiest thing, just go to our website, go to 365 Digital Tech, tech.com. And all of our information is on there and how to get a hold of me. And I'd love to chat with you.
Perfect. We will also make sure that we tag that in this episode. So thank you for hanging out and chatting with me. For everyone listening and watching us live, thank you for joining us. This podcast episode will be published this coming Sunday and available on all podcast platforms. So please subscribe to Hello Chaos, like, comment, and share this great content and help us grow and build a more connected entrepreneurial community. Hello Chaos is one of the many resources brought to you by Orange Whip. That is Orange Whip, WIP for work in progress. We are a multimedia company dedicated to serving founders and entrepreneurs in affiliate cities. We are in 3 markets in South Carolina, looking to expand to other cities, and we are 100% free. We are supported by our sponsors that you will hear from in another cast. Just an email to join our community, one-stop content hub for founders, and we're here for you. If you'd like to be a guest on our podcast or support us, send us an email to hello@orangewhip.com. And y'all, thank you for tuning in to Hello Chaos. It's where AHA meets oh shit. I am your host, Jennifer Sutton. JJ, we will see you again next week.